I come on and sub away at Brentford on the Saturday and we'd lost 4-0. And it was a funny one, that one, because I wasn't really expecting to be involved. And I travelled with the squad because Dave Watson was relatively new. So I must have been doing something right in training and the reserves and things like that. He'd seen something, so he took me. I was on the bench. I was obviously delighted. And then I got the shout to go on. We were 4-0 down, so there wasn't much I could do. But I remember getting on the end of a cross and having a shot, which the keeper saved. And I think that sort of got in his head a bit because I'd caused a few opportunities for us in the 20 minutes I was on that he thought, well, he's got something, he's having a go. Whereas we hadn't had many shots on target that day. So again, we had the game on a Tuesday. It was in the Worthington Cup against Preston. They were in the league above us then. And again, I wasn't even expecting it. If I'd have been told I was sub, I'd have been delighted. So I wasn't expecting it. And I arrived at the game. I picked Jason Kumas up because he couldn't drive, and I dropped him off at the entrance because there was a bit of talk of some of their fans wanting a conversation with Jason because I think he'd injured someone in pre-season. So I think Jay saw Nico walking in. He was like, let me walk in with Nico in case any of these front me. So he walked in with Nico. I parked about 2 miles away where my car parking space was. And then walked in, and Dave Watson just pulled me, and he just said, "You're starting tonight." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You're starting." I was like, "Honestly," he's like, "You play." And he said, "There's going to be TV cameras. Go and make a name for yourself." He said, "I believe in you," and that was all he said. And that was it. And I was in shock for a while because I think my dad was away somewhere, so I was trying to get hold of my brother in the day with big fat mobile phones. To say get to the ground because I'm starting, and he managed to get there, and other family members were there. But it was just surreal because I couldn't actually believe I was in the dressing room and I was looking around. I was thinking, is this real? Is it actually real? I'm actually starting a game for Tranmere tonight. And luckily enough, we went on and had a really good performance.
You have missed out one key bit of information from that day, though, which is that the day that this happens is
Yeah.
September the 11th,
Hmm.
2001, which is obviously remembered for the terrorist attacks in America that day. I mean, it must have been a really weird day, atmosphere, whatever. Just build up to the game. Can you remember what it felt like inside Prenton Park that night?
Yeah, it was very eerie, to be honest, the whole atmosphere. I think I'd woken up that morning and we weren't coming in training that day. So we were sort of home and people were sort of saying, put the telly on. So I watched it all day and unfold. And I think people were a bit scared because it was the first major terrorist attack and people didn't know what was going to happen next and what was going to be attacked. So obviously I think we did a minute silence before the game. And then it was just the atmosphere itself took a long time to get warmed up just because people were feeling very strange and obviously very sad and scared about what had happened. But I think over the next few days, when it all started to unfold more, I think that's where people realised what a big sort of thing it was. And I think we went to the game, we played away at Swindon on the Saturday. And we did a minute silence then. But I think then the sort of shock had gone away and the realism of what a big deal this was. And I still got the newspapers with all the World Trade Center stuff throughout the newspapers and our game on the back. So whenever that sort of comes up, the anniversary of it, I'll never forget it for both reasons, to be honest. And it's like it's amazingly sad and amazingly like dreamy for me to have that in the same day, if that makes sense.
Can you tell me then, in terms of football, what it was like walking out of the tunnel at Prenton Park with your shirt on? I can't remember what number you would have been. Were you
24,
35, 24?
24. Yeah.
Can you remember what it was like just lining up in that tunnel, knowing that in 2 minutes' time you were going to be going up against Preston and making your full debut for Tranmere?
I think it's just surreal. It's like, am I actually dreaming? And that's the honest way I can describe it because it doesn't feel real. I'd waited all my life to hear that music as you're coming out the tunnel. The music that plays all the time. This time I was in the tunnel. I was walking out with the team onto the pitch and getting to be part of that. And I couldn't actually believe it. It didn't feel real. And I was trying to take as much in as I could, but you just don't. And then all of a sudden, after the first minute or so, you're in the game and that sort of goes out your mind and it comes back into it at times. all of a sudden it snips in and you can see the crowd a bit, or after we've scored and then they come down, or the music comes on after we've scored, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is actually happening. I can't believe it's happening. And I don't think I slept a wink that night after the game, because it's all going through your mind at 100 miles an hour. It's just something I'll never ever forget, and I don't want to ever forget. It's just an amazing thing. My brother's got my shirt on his wall at home. That's why I know it was 24. I think my first squad number was 36 the first time I was sub, but this one was 24. So it's a memory that'll live forever.
I know that your memory is absolutely outstanding when it comes to Tranmere games that you played. And I'm very grateful for that, because we have had some players on here who you'll mention a game to them and it'll be a game of real importance and they can't remember which one it was.
Madness.
Mentioning no names, Eugene. But
yeah.
I'll test you. Can you name the future Tranmere manager who was in the Preston squad that night, or Preston starting 11?
Yeah, he's Rob Edwards. It was, yeah. But I've actually got it. It wasn't Rob that did it, but I've got a big scar on my leg. In probably about the first 20 minutes, I went in for a 50-50. It was a bad touch by me. And I saw their lad coming towards me, and I thought, I've got to go full-blooded here. And he's gone under my shin pad, 2-footed, and I've got like really big scars on there. And I got in at half time, and Les looked at it and was like, "Fucking hell." It's like, that's gone through your shin pad there and everything. And I'm like, just sort it out. It's fine. I can't feel it. I think the adrenaline I got to me, it was like, I'm not stopping this. And the next day I could hardly move because of it. But I remember Bob showed me a picture of the tackle. He had a picture of it. And it looks really bad in picture, like, because you can see the 2 feet going towards me. So he's proper done me, the lad, like, but obviously not enough because we won 4-1. So.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the other players that played for Preston that night. A future teammate of yours was on the wing for them. Ian Anderson. It was indeed. They also had Graham Alexander playing for them. Chris Luchetti, who's a big name at that level.
I think he was £1 million signing for them. I think he was something like that. Yeah.
David Healy up front.
David Moyes was manager.
Indeed, yeah. I think Richard Cresswell was playing as well, so it was a pretty good...
Yeah, we had a good team, but we battered them. We were brilliant that night.
You beat them 4-1. Sean Flynn got the opener after 8. Kumas got 1. Barla got 1. And Mickey got 1 as well.
Yeah, Jace's goal was a belter. Mickey, oh my God. Mickey, it was an easy finish for him, 1-on-1, and I was like at the side of him, and I was screaming out, "Mickey, give me the ball, I'm 1 yard out, just give me the ball, bowl it to me." And he didn't, so I was fuming, but I missed a chance in the first half. Nick Henry put me in, and I think the whole excitement got to me, and instead of taking it forward for the 1-on-1, I thought, in my head, split second, I'll just careless around the keeper, no problem. That's what was in my head, and I scarred it. The second half, I took the ball off Luchetti, it was, and I've knocked it, and this was on the edge of the box. And I remember saying to myself, like, calm down, I've just settled down, this is all in a split second. So it took me extra touch. I'm looking in that corner, and I'm whipping it in that corner. I could do it all the time without thinking, no problem. And I've even said to myself, just calm yourself down, settle down. I felt calm in myself. And I just got under it too much, and it went over the keeper, went that way as well. And I couldn't believe I've missed 2 chances like that. But my actual performance was really good that day. I think I got man of the match in a couple of the suites. And I think I'd done more than enough to say, this is what I'm about. And I think after the game, I think there was a lot of like chit chat about me doing so well. It was just unfortunate I didn't get the goals that day.
Can't have done too bad, because you then went and played the next week against Swindon and would eventually make, I think it's 4 appearances for Tranmere that season. Let's get on to match 3.
Yeah, and that's going to be part of the FA Cup run that you talked about, the Bolton away, which I only played the extra time. I think it was extra time, I come on just before, but I think for me to play against Bolton for Tranmere and beat them, was just an amazing moment for me, because growing up, Bolton were our rivals. So that was a huge game for me, and to get on it and be a part of that winning team was amazing.